Ole Miss. They open with Furman at home. That's the streaming game. So SEC Plus, ESPN Plus, 6 p.m. kickoff for that ball game at home. Week 2 at home on the SEC Network against Middle Tennessee, 3:15 kickoff. Week 3, they travel to Winston-Salem, take on Wake Forest on the CW with the 5:30 kick.
You can watch a top 10 team and then the top 10 greatest episodes of Dawson's Creek in the same day.
What a day that would be.
Yeah. I heard you talking about this a couple of weeks ago.
For my life to be over.
What's the lead-in for that one going to be? One Tree Hill or Vampire Diaries?
I don't know what all shows. What if it's a live event?
That's not good.
It could be live golf rolling right into Wake Forest.
Well, based on the ratings that came out today, you'd rather have Dawson's Creek lead into the football game. So,
party of 5.
Ole Miss's 4th game against Georgia Southern will be a night game on the SEC Network, 6:45 kick for that one. The SEC opener, home game against Kentucky, an 11 a.m. kickoff against on either ABC or ESPN.
You've got Oklahoma-Auburn that day, Alabama-Georgia that day. I know that Ole Miss is very likely going to be undefeated and in the top 10 at that moment, but because it's Kentucky, you get relegated to 11 a.m. with those other two.
You remember the last time Ole Miss and Kentucky played, it was a top 10 matchup.
Until Will Levis turned it over a couple of times.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still top 10 going into it. It was an 11 a.m. kickoff, and the crowd that day was fantastic.
Kentucky unlikely to be undefeated coming in. They do play Georgia week 3, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe Ole Miss getting Kentucky at a good spot. I don't. It shouldn't make a difference one way or the other, but we'll see. Then Ole Miss goes to South Carolina. Network to be determined, and it's a flex game, so either an afternoon game or a night game. LSU will be at night in Baton Rouge.
LSU, absolute joke.
It is a joke.
They're not playing a single early game. Not one. Not one home. I mean, it's ridiculous. Everybody else has got to play at least.
Oklahoma in Oxford on October 26th. That is an early kick.
Now, this one doesn't really make sense.
You've got Auburn, Kentucky that day. You got Mississippi State, Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, Vandy, Texas, LSU, A&M, Alabama, Missouri.
It's surprising this isn't the night game over Auburn at Kentucky.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Feels like it's probably on ABC.
It'll be on ABC.
Yeah, and then
at 11 a.m.
State will take you out of game day on ESPN.
Road game at Arkansas is an early kick. It's probably a good thing.
They got a couple of breaks there. I think you'll get to the other one in a second. But obviously, LSU is going to be at night. It was always going to be at night. They're getting a break with no more 8:30 kickoffs, but that was going to happen. So you just resign that fact. The other 3 road games in traditionally very difficult venues could all 3 be day kicks. 2 of them are definitely early kicks. That's good. You don't want to be playing in the swamp, as bad as Florida might be, at night. You don't want to be in Fayetteville at night. And especially if they aren't great teams, a disengaged crowd for an 11 o'clock kick helps you on the road.
I agree with that. Georgia is a flex, so it will be either an afternoon kick or a night kick.
And that is Ole Miss's only opportunity for a home SEC game to be at night.
Yeah.
That's look, I want to preface it, right? If I'm saying Ole Miss is getting the shaft, they got the shaft a little bit on this one. To only get one. I mean, granted, that could be the biggest game of that weekend. It probably will be. But so that's kind of off.
So Borky and I were talking during the break.
Mm-hmm.
You also have LSU, Alabama that day.
Yeah, which will...
It's in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
But, hey, Dad, there is a very legitimate chance that Ole Miss Georgia is a bigger game.
Oh, it should be, yeah.
Than Alabama at LSU. And so if you're in the programming department at ESPN, which one are you putting at night?
Like common sense might tell you Alabama, LSU are bigger brand names, but Ole Miss has a lot of cachet. And if that game is like number 1 versus number 4 or something like that, it's probably going to be Ole Miss.
I mean, there's a scenario where it's number 1 versus number 2.
There is.
It's crazy to think about, but
yeah. So I mean, with State has 2 SEC games that could be night games. Missouri and A&M are both flex. They have opportunity to be night games, so they could end up as many as 2. But Ole Miss, this is their only one that they have a chance to be a night game.
Yeah. And look, everybody loves a night game and what they've kind of created in the stadium. Now, I will say, I looked at this during the break. So the game against Oklahoma on November 9th, is that right?
Georgia's November 9th.
Sorry, the Georgia game November 9th. If that game kicks off at 2:30, that's the week after the time changes. So it will finish in the dark. But it's still not a night game.
It's not a night game. A night game kicks off at night.
Yeah, but you'll get all the all the stuff, the light shows and all that. Same thing for the Egg Bowl too. The second half of the Egg Bowl, it'll be dark.
I'm not overly worried about the atmosphere at the Ole Miss Georgia game. It'll be great. I'm just saying it's odd that Ole Miss only gets one night kickoff.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Road game against Florida, next to the last game of the regular season, 11 a.m. kickoff in the Swamp on either ABC or ESPN.
That's a break. Even if, like, Florida has stayed intact, you just...
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when you're on the road before the Egg Bowl, too, on a short week. It's only one day now, but still.
And then Mississippi State, 2:30 on ABC, as we have discussed. And we know that's a game that finishes at night, right? We've watched Alabama, Missouri for the last few years that kicks off at that time. It's always dark when it finishes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if there is a mindset change that we have to have. Because the immediate look is, well, Ole Miss only has the potential for one home night SEC game. Yeah, but this is the equivalent of Ole Miss having potentially 1, 2, 3 home, air quotes, CBS games. I mean, that's what, yes, you don't have that possibility other than the Georgia Southern game for the SEC Network Saturday night game. And as much as we love that spot, and there have been some fun games in that spot, that's usually the third or fourth game picked of the day. And so you look at that home SEC slate, and you're like, okay, Georgia's either going to be in the afternoon or at night. Mississippi State's in the afternoon. Oklahoma, that's the one. I still look at that one. Why is that game kicking at 11?
It's odd.
And by the way, just based on some conversations I've had with people that have got ties to Oklahoma, Oklahoma fans are going to descend en masse on Oxford for the first road trip to face Ole Miss.
And here's my annual gripe, by the way. Here it comes. If you're in the Ole Miss marketing department and you listen to the show, you're getting it wrong again.
They've already set the colors.
Choosing Oklahoma for your powder game is stupid. Blend at home, stand out on the road. There's going to be a lot of Oklahoma fans there.
State did the best thing ever today.
Yeah?
White out for Florida. Every other game, just wear maroon. Thank you. No more stripe out. No more this section, that. Just wear maroon. Zach Selman, if you're listening, you have done it again, my friend.
Blend at home, stand out on the road. If you're playing a red team, fans wear red. If you're playing a blue team, fans wear blue. That's what you do. Oklahoma fans are going to stand out. You made a bad choice with the powder. You should have done it for Kentucky. Pay me some extra, and I will pick the colors for you next year.